I'd like to welcome in retired Army Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis, a senior fellow at Defense Priorities, host of Daniel Davis Deep Dive on YouTube. Always great to see you, Lieutenant Colonel. I want to start with the deceased hostages and the lack of return of all of them. Only 4 returned yesterday. The Hostages and Missing Families Forum really sounding the alarm. From your perspective, is this already a violation of the agreement?
Listen, I think that probably Hamas didn't do themselves any favors by agreeing to this as though they just had them, sitting in some storage room somewhere that they could just deliver them on demand, because we now are realizing that some of the places where the remains were buried have been subsequently buried under rubble when Israel destroyed many of these buildings near where they were being housed. Some of them have been collapsed on top of it, and it is just incredibly difficult to get into it. So it's going to take some significant effort. A lot of this has been known by the Israeli side. I saw some of these reports even before the deal was made. So this shouldn't be a shock to anyone, but it certainly is a disappointment to the people who were led to believe that every hostage would be released, dead or deceased, on the day of the turnover. But there's just some very practical reasons why that can't happen. I'm not aware of any situation to where Hamas is intentionally withholding some of these remains, that they could deliver them and they're not going to. I can't see any benefit to them to do so. So I doubt that's the case, but you can't eliminate anything. I'm not on the ground there, so I can't say. Yeah. But I can say that it's going to be a very difficult process. It's going to take some time, especially for some of them.
All right. So I'd like to listen, Lieutenant Colonel, to some of what President Trump has said about this deal.
The momentous breakthrough that we're here to celebrate tonight is more than the end of the war in Gaza. It's, with God's help, it'll be the new beginning for an entire beautiful Middle East. From this moment forward, we can build a region that's strong and stable and prosperous and united in rejecting the path of terror once and for all. We want to get rid of the terror and get on to other things.
All right, so still very much a fragile plan, still lots of disagreement about what happens next, how it happens next. We know Hamas agreed to this, yet another thing, but a lot of people are skeptical that even though they agree to, they will not be willing to lay down arms. Do you think that happens?
Well, that is obviously one of the first big things to find out. There's a lot of issues really on both sides of this equation that does not build a great deal of confidence. I think it's a little bit premature to say peace has come to the Middle East. I mean, golly, even phase 2 hadn't even been negotiated yet, much less an implementation timeline put into effect that would allow you to have more optimism. So I'm definitely concerned about what may come next. But some of the issues even on the Israeli side, there's many in the Israeli government that are absolutely opposed to this deal. They don't want it to go through. They wanted a military victory where they determined how the outcome would come. Many of them, of course, we have to be honest, want all the Palestinians physically removed, and they don't want a deal to where they're going to be rebuilt and stay in the Gaza Strip. And so that's something that Israel has to negotiate with on its own internal. And then there's the question you mentioned there. Is the Hamas side going to actually do what they said and lay down their arms, demilitarize, or take the amnesty that was part of President Trump's 20-point plan, that they would get to go somewhere else? For the people of Palestine, I sincerely hope so. I would love to see the Arab regimes across the board put a lot of pressure on Hamas to get them to do everything that has been required of them for the sake of the Palestinian people, because absent that, then it's going to be a lot harder for Israel to push, on resumption of any military force. But if the Hamas side is out, then we have a lot better chance.
Yesterday, we heard the president say the war is over more than once. We did not hear that from Israel's prime minister. Do you think the war is over?
No, the war is not over. We have a ceasefire, and that's meaningful, and don't want to downplay that at all, because, every time I've been on your show over the last couple of years talking about this, we always say, let's get the killing stopped first, and then we can negotiate stuff so that no one else has to die in this. And so we finally got to that point. So that's awesome. But like I said, there are still some big issues even to negotiate. And then once you get them negotiated, to then get them implemented. So it's too early to say that the war is over, but we do need to celebrate that the ceasefire has been accomplished.
Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis, always appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.